I'm here at SHRM Labs booth with Logan Sugarman, who is the CEO of Refresh. So I'm curious, what is Refresh, first of all?
Um, you know, refresh is easier to show than to explain sometimes.
Okay.
So that's so part of our demo day talk was really kind of getting that bullet point down. But what refresh really does, I think, more importantly,
Okay.
is or what it's not is not another app, right?
Okay.
We're basically that system, that platform that delivers your app stack. Your average corporation now has something in the neighborhood of 100 to 200 unique tools, resources, benefits, apps. And they're all great stuff, right? This is not a tools problem that we're dealing with. It's more of a distribution and connectivity problem. So what Refresh does is it brings all those apps into one single interface and allows us to distribute those on a highly personalized basis so that each user is getting what they need based upon who they are, what they are, where they are. Part-time, full-time, union, covered, uncovered employees have a corporate email address, don't have a corporate email address, right? And then gets to know you along that path so that we're not delivering the same information and benefits to a 21-year-old fresh out of college as a 45-year-old who's been working and has kids and a family, right? Their benefit needs are different. And if we treat them the same, you get what you have now, which is an undervalued stack of benefits that is losing value because of the complexity.
So you would say the problem you're trying to solve is exactly removing the complexity, way more customizable than it is right now. So what's your target client? What does that look like?
I mean, we service clients from 50 employees up to, I think our largest client is about 150,000 employees right now. So it's something that scales. I would say we add the most value the more complex the situation is, the employee bases, geography, job type, et cetera. But as you go down in scale for companies, they have their own complexities because you have less staff, right? Less support, less things. So it's, and even your smallest companies right now, I think a report just came out, your smallest companies, sub 500 employees have 100 apps in their staff.
I'm not surprised.
Enterprise, so above 5,000, 400 apps.
Oh, yeah.
And they're changing apps. You're adding 4.6 apps every 30 days. So everyone has this issue.
So tell me about your journey into starting this company.
Yep.
And I'm going to assume you were an entrepreneur before this company, but when did you launch this one?
Yeah, so Refresh has been a journey.
Okay.
We started out as a services business, delivering on-site services to large corporations like flu shots, massage, personal services, things like that, which is pretty complex, and the services business is a really tough one, especially when you're delivering it at scale to corporations and they have certain expectations. But one of the things that we saw during that process was high intent items like massage. You would think that massage, especially in kind of frontline distributed workforces, would be 100% booked, right? Or overbooked. We actually built our system so there was wait lists and whatever, because we're like, people are going to come out of the woodwork to get these 10-minute massages, and it's going to be gangbusters. We didn't see that. I mean, it was still well taken up, but 60-70% of the spot taken. But
Interesting.
I was like, this doesn't make any sense. What's going on here, right? So we spent a good amount of time talking to the HR teams that we were working with, and this was the feedback: is that we send out an email, we put up a poster in the elevator, or maybe throw something up on one of the screens we have, and that's it. That's our distribution system, right? Like, we're not publishers, right? And HR doesn't have the tools to become publishers or distributors in any kind of way. They've got an intranet. It's everything, and bad links, broken links, and they're expected to maintain it, or IT is, right? So you push off all of these core aspects of value creation at the employee level to these systems that weren't really built to that purpose. And so the way my brain works is when I see a problem in the world or an inefficiency, and I'm like, why isn't this working? I'm like, I got to solve it, right? So
True entrepreneur.
And so, we just started looking at some of the core reasons why other groups weren't able to address this problem. And in software, you're always building to a core kernel of truth, right? And it kind of stems from there. So if you pick the wrong kernel of truth, it creates a lot of inflexibility in your product going forward.
And it's usually too late.
And it's too late, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully you're big enough where it doesn't matter and you can just roll people over,
Fair
which
enough.
we can name a bunch of those groups that are out there in the world right now. But I digress. The cool part is that, what we saw was something that needed to be completely adaptable. We need to change the way that people thought about technology too, right? So a lot of times companies will buy a tech and they're like, great, well, now we got to conform our processes or our people or our culture or whatever to this new tech. Well, that's a crazy way to think about it, especially given the flexibility of software in this modern day and age in 2025, right? So we really thought about this. How can we build something so granular, so flexible that we don't have to do engineering work every time a new client comes on, but it's so configurable that our support team can onboard you in 4 weeks, even for large corporations with a myriad of tools, and get you going and get you up and running with a highly segmented, highly personalized version of the system. And that was the kernel of truth that we started with. And I think it's something that has created something truly future-proof in the fact that, well, 2 versions of that. One, our system is there to be integrated with any tool you bring on in the future, right? So as we're at SHRM and there's 25,000 people shopping around for the next greatest thing to provide value to their people, right? And I think there's great tools out here, wonderful stuff. But then the question is, well, how do I distribute it, right? How do I bring it in? What do I replace? Do I have to replace something? And we solve that problem. So change management in that aspect. And then the other side of that is that, on our front end, we're going to put your payroll next to your timekeeper, next to your daily pay, earned wage access, next to maybe some of your financial savings tools, whatever, so that people can go down a stack and interact with each one of those in one app. What that also gives you is flexibility of, you want to swap from ADP to UKG, well, your employee's never going to know the difference, right? They're going to come and see the exact same stuff in the exact same way and interact with the exact same purpose. Now, if they have to go over to that site for higher level stuff, you have to figure it out. But at that point, they have high intent, so they're going to go do it.
That's a big problem you're solving there, because change management, when it comes to changing any of these systems, is probably the biggest reason they fail, right?
Correct. And the biggest reason people don't buy, right? You see something that's really great and wonderful for your people, they'd be like, oh my God, I don't even know how we're going to manage this, right?
I'm curious. So how did you start working with SHRM Labs? What's your relationship? What value does that bring to you?
Yeah. So we filled out the form to submit
the special form.
The special form online. And I've known for SHRMs for a long period of time. One of our early advisors was big on SHRM, and we learned about it, especially given our orientation within HR. And so I always knew like how definitive SHRM was and how intelligent SHRM was as far as like data and resources and just experts. I mean, this organization's rife with them, right? I mean, there's too many.
There's value,
Lots of value, and they create more experts in the world too, right? Through the SHRM training and things like that. So, I was sort of looking for validation, truthfully. Like, if we can put it in this application and get accepted into a program like this, it means we're doing something useful, right? Like,
that makes sense.
No entrepreneur wants to go out there spinning their wheels doing something that like they think is useful. And I was like, well, that's just that's never going to work, right? I don't need that. There's no value in that for me. So we, filled out the application and went through the process, and it was great. It's also, there's a lot of vetting in it too, right? I mean, they spend, months kind of looking at you, digging in. They are investing in you, so it is a full investment process too of due diligence and what have you. So, we've been through that with a bunch of other groups as well. So it was somewhat easy for us to do that and get that done. But obviously, to have to be selected, we're one of 3 companies out of 520 some great global companies that I'm sure
about validation, right?
Yeah. I mean, top, was that 0.5% of the companies? As soon as my CTO and our team walked away from it, I'm like, all right, so I think we're doing something right here, right? And then just the experience throughout the process has been amazing. I mean, Hidil and Nathan, who kind of lead the interaction with us, are just, wonderful people, and create such a family atmosphere, right? So we're working together. We're all here. It's one team, one goal to help us be better. And there's a lot of feedback through the process and iteration on not as much on the product and whatever, because that's a little bit set-ish, but on how we present it. And I think that was one of our big learnings from this whole process is, talking with people like Dr. Alonso and Andy and all the great people within SHRM. We learned a ton about our product that we didn't see, right? From an emotional standpoint, from a I want to say marketing, but it's not a right,
but maybe a little bit biased.
But a way to frame it that connects a little bit better with audiences that when you build something and you're kind of a tech person, you tend to talk
Yes.
about function.
Yes.
Buyers, I mean, in general, across everything, right? Want feeling and story. I mean, I feel the same way
Yeah.
when it's like Seinfeld.
Well, they want to know what problem you're solving, right?
Right,
And
right.
and how you can make their days a lot easier, especially in the HR function, which like we're bombarded with everything. So
Yeah.
like if your product can help us,
Yeah.
that's the story
Yeah.
you need to tell.
Yeah. So I think we got a lot better at distilling the value prop.
Okay.
And being able to share that more succinctly, although I don't know if I did a great job at the top
I
of
think
the
you did a great
podcast.
job. So I want to know what's next, like for Refresh. What does the next 12, 24 months look like?
Yeah. So, I think the beautiful part about what we've built and are building is that future-proof aspect of it. So, continuing to build out features and functions internally that are
Yeah.
supportive of distribution and connectivity, right? I think what we've built is connective tissue for organizations. So we have comms tools, we have forms automation and things like that are built internally on our side. It's also one of our big value props when a buyer comes in, is that usually we're returning hard dollars to their budget, 3-4x of what they're going to spend on us, just by knocking out some of these point solutions that don't connect with anything else, and are kind of sitting there in stasis. Again, you don't have to knock them out, but we
you
give
can.
you that option. So continue, we've got an AI chat bot that's going to be launched in the next quarter or so that will just basically load up all your benefit information and be able to segment it by user group or user type, so that when you come in and ask it a question about your benefits, it's going to give you an answer about your benefits versus somebody else. And then I think more importantly, continue to open up our back end so that, I know no one cares about this thing called AI, which apparently is a big deal.
I don't know.
No one's mentioned it recently, right?
No one knows.
But as people figure out what they're going to do
Yeah.
on that front, I think it's important to have systems that are able to engage with it and then bring it, especially when we're talking about frontline distributed workforce, which is 80% of the workforce, right? Whether those folks are going to know the questions they want to ask of it in order to get the right
That's a
response is
challenge.
TBD. But using AI to help create journeys, right? And help understand the needs of populations and then serve that up through our system as a graphical way to take them through those processes and expose them and engage them with their benefits, or help them understand the value of those benefits, I think is super powerful. And that's something that we're looking at in the future.
Very interesting. We'll be following along. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. Email is always a good one. Logan at refreshplatform.com. Come to our website, refreshplatform.com. You can book a demo. They're free. I know that's a big thing that people always have to put down on the website. So I'm like, I think people know that they're free demos.
I don't know. All the demos I've seen here have been free, so I think it's. And on LinkedIn, I'm assuming as well.
On LinkedIn, yep. Logan Sugarman, I believe, or Sugarman Logan.
Sugarman, one of those.
One of those. And
perfect.
then at Refresh Platform or Refresh Software.
Thank you.
On LinkedIn.
I
Thank you so much.
appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, really a pleasure.
Perfect.
Talk to you soon.